Throughout the history of our civilization, there have been fervent views questioning the possibility of our collective knowledge and understanding of reality itself. What is real? What is reality? And is it possible that the perceptions, we beliefs, and understandings of the physical existent on isn't actually how it's defined? While these questions have led to numerous discussions delving into the philosophies of this existential argument, even by philosophers of our ancient past, modern philosophers have also introduced a concept that many argue to be quite believable. Are we really living in a computer simulation? Is our current reality truly defined by a programmer responsible for this hyper-realistic simulation? And are we simply simulated minds perpetrated by a future generation capable of a post-human simulator? Hello everyone, and welcome to Techtastic. In today's video, we're taking a look at the simulation theory. Is reality real? Before we jump into it, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe with the notification bell for future Techtastic videos. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Human beings have always aimed towards understanding the most complex capacities, even beyond the realm of defined parameters, such as the things that can be gauged purely from an empirical standpoint and perceived using one or more of the five senses: taste, sight, smell, touch, and hearing. Many leave it to human nature, our need for finding meaning, and as we try and face our existential angst through social organization and through beliefs found in religion. Yet, as we spend our time coursing through the history of human civilization's existence, there remains to be plenty of question when it comes to concepts of our time on this plane, with most leaving it all to faith, while some opting to face these inquiries with a fascination and drive to bring forth an understanding that would make sense of the unanswerable. The manner of questioning our existence and the actual reality of our perception have been naturally innate as civilization itself, with ancient philosophers looking into the heavens to question what we're actually seeing and experiencing. The thought that reality is simply an illusion is a concept that can be traced back to antiquity, from the Indian philosophy of Maya, which literally means illusion or magic, with Maya signifying an illusion where things appear to be present but are not what they seem, or the ancient Greek philosophers, who likened existing things to a scenic painting and supposed them to resemble the impressions experienced in sleep or madness. This manner of philosophical skepticism is regarded as a pillar to knowledge itself, since answers would never be found without anyone finding the motivation to ask the right questions. The man who is widely regarded as one of the founders of modern philosophy, René Descartes, who brought on his most popular philosophical statement, cogito ergo sum, which means I think, therefore I am, which signifies the end of Descartes' questioning his own existence, by defining that he was the one doubting in the first place, therefore asserting that there is a mind or a consciousness believing in its own existence. However, Descartes also discussed the possibility that his perceptions of reality may be forever clouded, saying, quote, "It is possible that I am dreaming right now, and that all of my perceptions are false," end quote. The concepts of perception and the nature of being are subjects that continue to puzzle and provoke, which is why philosophers, scientists, and self-proclaimed brainiacs continue to hack at the questions of reality and the theories that float around it. One hypothesis that was introduced in 2003 is the concept of the simulation argument. Brought on by philosopher Nick Bostrom, the premise of this simulation theory borders on the idea that it is highly regarded by futurists and technologists that in the future, enormous amounts of computing power will be available to whomever exists well in that time. This capability of controlling super powerful computers may follow future generations to run detailed simulations of their forebearers, which would be us in this scenario. These supercomputers may be able to run powerful and exact simulations that have the ability to attain certain consciousness, and that the vast majority of minds that exist in our current timeline may not actually be living in the real world, nor do our minds exist as part of the original race, but rather as simulations made by advanced descendants of an original race. The simulation theory is a proposal that brings forth the idea that all of reality, including our current Earth and the rest of the well-known universe, could in fact be some sort of artificial simulation, much like a computer simulation. This simulated reality is brought forth by a proposed technology well into the future, one that certainly cannot exist in today's present, that would be able to convince its inhabitants that the simulation is in fact the reality we exist in. The idea that we're actually living in an advanced digital construct is a modern hypothesis rooted in ancient query with the framework of our understanding of reality presupposed by a computer simulation that's overseen by some form of higher intelligence. Many see the simulation argument as perhaps the first interesting argument for the existence of a creator in 2,000 years. And while this may seem like an exaggerated compliment, many share the belief brought on by Nick Bostrom's hypothesis. In his seminal paper released in 2003, titled, "Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?", Swedish philosopher Nick Bostrom explained that future generations might be so technologically adept that they would have mega computing capabilities that can run numerous and detailed ancestor simulations, indicating that the vast majority of minds, such as ours, are likely among the simulated minds rather than among the original biological ones. This post-human simulator, according to Bostrom, would need sufficient computing power to keep track of the detailed belief states in all human brains at all times. This refers to the overwhelming sense that continuously observe, and thus these simulators need to prepare input before they happen and provide a simulated detail of whatever it is that is about to be observed. Should any error ever occur in the simulation, such as a malfunction or a breakdown, the so-called director or programmer could simply edit the states of any brains that have become aware of an anomaly before it spoils the simulation, with the programmer able to skip back a few seconds to return to the simulation in a way that avoids the problem. If this is giving you vibes similar to getting plugged into the Matrix, this is because the fictional movie draws much inspiration from the simulation theory, along with many modern works of science fiction. In this scenario, Bostrom stipulates that his simulation argument showed at least one proposition in his main trilemma must therefore be true. First, humans almost always go extinct before reaching the simulation savvy stage. Second, even if humans do reach that stage, they are unlikely to be interested in simulating their own ancestral past. And third, the probability that we are already living in a simulation is close to 1. The notion has gone on to become quite popular among modern thinkers, aside from the popularity of movies like The Matrix, which brought on a technological approach to philosophical skepticism. People like SpaceX chief and futurist Elon Musk have been noted to agree with the argument, agreeing that we may indeed be living in a simulation. Speaking at a podcast, Musk expounded on the potential of developing technologies towards current simulation, as seen through modern gaming. Quote, "If you assume any rate of improvement at all, games will eventually be indistinguishable from reality. We're most likely in a simulation." End quote. Famous astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson has even given the simulation theory better than 50-50 odds of being correct, saying, "I wish I could summon a strong argument against it, but I can't find none." While scientists are currently searching for ways to put the simulation hypothesis to the test, using experiments that could distinguish physical reality from a simulation, from nuclear physicists trying to uncover the mathematical structure used to build our simulated reality, to philosophy professors trying to prove that if we indeed manage to find the science to prove the possibility for the simulated to discover the simulators, then the world would simply end as if the simulation was to be shut down. While these questions await the unearthing of truth, ancient mysteries of where our universe comes from, who or what created it, and why it is mostly understood that in the absence of other evidence, the simplest explanation is more likely to be correct, in other words, the Occam's razor. If the programmers indeed allow us to find the simple explanation before pressing Alt plus Control plus Delete. So what do you think about the simulation theory? Is reality real? We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. If you're new to Techtastic, give us a thumbs up as it helps us out a lot. Subscribe with the notification bell for future Techtastic stories. Until next time.